we have an honor. It's our honor today, able to have Lily Tang Williams in our studio. Wow, you guys should be very exciting. Uh,
You come
Welcome.
all the way from New Hampshire. We welcome you.
Well, thank you. This is great. I feel like at home. There are lots of Chinese here and great food, and so I feel like this is great. From New Hampshire.
All the way from New Hampshire.
Right.
Yeah, and you are running as a Congress. You are running Congress at which district again?
I am running as a Republican candidate in New Hampshire, second congressional district.
Second congressional
Yes,
district.
and second, 600,000 people and voters.
About 600,000
Yeah, yeah,
voters.
yeah,
Wow,
right.
pretty big.
Yeah.
District.
Well, our whole state is only 1.3 million people. New Hampshire is a small and beautiful state.
Wow. So, and then on this primary, when is the primary end?
Primary is September 13th,
Okay.
and my district, about 40% are independent voters. That means in New Hampshire, you can register as voters only three: Republican, Democrats, or undeclared.
Okay.
Undeclared means independents. But if they like me, trust me, they can also come in to vote for me on September 13th. They just have to same day to change their affiliation to Republican, then vote for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's how they would. So this difference from New Hampshire and California. The California is the
Top two.
Top two.
I know we have the, election laws are supposed to be normally kind of legislated by the state. So each state might have different laws and
Different
when it
rules.
comes to the election.
Yes.
So well, that's how American work. Lots of the states supposed to have a state rights to kind of regulate on lots of policies and issues. I mean, it's also democracy because the people then in that state can vote for their own laws.
Their
Yeah.
own rules. Yeah.
Right.
And
Can Democrat voters vote for you on primaries?
Well, Democrat, if they're religious Democrats, and they did not change their party affiliation to undeclared on time, which I think we just passed the deadline.
Oh.
So they cannot vote for me in the primary. They can vote for me for the general, which is November 8th.
Okay. They can still vote for you.
Basically only undeclared and the Republican registered voters can vote for me on September 13th for the primary, but then November 8th everybody who is a citizen can vote for me.
so we need you to win on September
13th.
13th.
One day primary. That's
Oh,
one
the
day primary. Yeah.
Yeah. How many candidates are there now?
Right now, when you look at the FEC, which is a federal election, I think a communications website, commission website, the people who have to file there first. So me, and then you have probably five other, six other Republican men filed, but they have to also file primary. Primary deadline is actually is this Friday. It's a deadline, so they have to file to run in the primary as Republican. That's why they're out. So right now, the one who already filed to run as a Republican in the primary is me and the three other men.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
four. Okay.
Yeah.
So
How does your campaign look like now? Is it?
Yeah. Well, I filed with the Federal Election Commission on their website on late January, start to raise money February 1st. And I actually outraised all the existing candidates right now. So when you go to the fec.gov, you can see, you should type in New Hampshire 2nd Congressional District. You can see all the people who filed to run, and also you can click on how much money they raised. You have to be careful. Some people give themselves loan, a lot of money they raise, but their money show how much cash they have, how much expenses they have, how much money they raise. You have to click on the money raised, total cash, right? Then to say how much
very clear.
how much is from individuals donated, how much is from a committee and PAC, then how much is a loan. Like some people, candidate will loan themselves money. So so I am the right now. I'm the I call myself front runner because I raised the most money, and every quarter we have to file. So I filed March 31st for the first quarter. I raised most of the money. We have to file again June 30th to see how much money I raised. So I need the people to donate by June 30th because I need to tell federal government how much money I raised. I have to report that.
By June 30th,
Yes.
people can donate through your website right here?
Yes. So website lilytangwilliams.com. You go to donate button, and you can use a credit card or you can use a check. There is a mailing PO box number, and for personal check to mail to me. I think it's only personal checks, and that's legal, not company, LLC or something like that. And the maximum is there's maximum too.
Yeah.
Maximum per person you can donate if you have a green card also. It's $5,800 per person.
How much?
$5,800. That's it.
$5,800?
Yeah.
Wow.
So $5,800. After that, it's illegal. So,
okay.
but if you're a husband wife, that means you can have two
Two,
$5,800.
Yeah.
And because when you donate, they charge us 4% fee.
How
So
much?
4% processing fee.
Oh, they're perfect.
So it's if you have a big check, we ask people if you have a big check, please mail us to the PO box number on my website. So save us 4%. Otherwise, I feel like that's wasted, right?
Yeah.
That's $40 if you donate $1,000. That's
Yeah.
$40
Yeah, that's
wasted.
$40,
I could buy lots of yard signs.
Every penny counts.
Right, every penny
Yeah.
counts. Right.
And we are running the campaign here, so we know how it is. And
Inflation's up, so cost is high now.
everything's
Totally.
high,
Yeah.
Is it the first time you come to California?
Oh no, I come here many times. I have actually, and two sons live here right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we.
So
I
you
think
come here
2020 we spent Christmas here,
Oh, 2020.
and yeah, thanks to Governor Newsom, we could not even go to restaurant to eat, and we could not go outdoor in the big tent to eat.
Yeah.
We only could cook at home or
You cannot go
take out,
anywhere.
take
Yeah,
out,
take out, yeah.
take out, then go home to eat. Go to park. It's kind of weird. You can go to park to eat, but you cannot eat in a restaurant, like an open tent, because California weather is so nice. I was complaining about that, 70 degree, and the people tell me, Lily, we're gonna lose our job tonight because no more outdoor dining. I said that's crazy.
But
Oh, yeah.
Newsom can't
Oh.
do it, you know.
But Newsom did it himself.
Yes.
That's why sometimes I call
Yeah.
California as like a PRC, like a People's Republic of China or People's Republic of California.
People
Their
with California.
policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's like it hurts business people. It hurts people jobs.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. You have a great message in your campaign mentioning you're afraid that our country will become like the one that you left. And how is it playing out? Is it like this in New Hampshire? Can you tell us more about how it is like?
Well, I only lived in New Hampshire not that many years, but when I first come over from China, and I was almost 24 years old. That was 1988. I decided China is not for me. I need to move to free America and live, basically have more freedom and live American dream. But then took me 20 years to really wake up in this country, to learn the culture, learn the English well, and got married and raised family, got involved with the school and the work and support family. And I did not know lots of truth about China. So by the time I finally wake up to say I'm an independent thinker, I understand America not better now, I started dreaming English. That's when you know you integrate into men's society, is when you start dreaming English.
Yeah.
And then I realized, wow, my past in China is all lies, lots of lies. But then when I wake up and I notice, that's when I still live in Colorado, and I notice that America is changing. America is using more and more communist terms and more bigger government. out of spending, abusive government, and citizens' rights are being, like just lose a little bit and little bit every time, and the parental rights also. Also, centralized education. I don't like centralized education. I think education should be locally controlled and parents controlled.
Yep.
So I start to become more politically involved to say what's going on in this country. Of course, the gun control in Colorado 2013 really scared me. So they want to basically ban magazines and ban guns, and I become first time going to the state capitol in Denver to testify against the gun control laws and tell my stories, and what brought me to this country is the constitutional rights of citizens and Bill of Rights that includes Second Amendment right, and so I start to just say, how come this country, people start to believe more and more bigger authoritarian government and want to limit, erode citizens' freedoms and rights, and in education classrooms, our kids were being indoctrinated. So I decided I need to tell my stories more. I need to tell people I don't want to relive China. I don't want to go through another cultural revolution like I did. I survived Mao's cultural revolution.
Yeah, because you were in what was it called, the red.
I was like a young pioneer with a red scarf girl. I was a part of the Red Guard member because
You know how they play the game.
You have to be in 5 red classes and the red children in order to even become like a young pioneer and the Red Guard, because if your family were black class families, you're not allowed to join Mao's grassroots students organization.
Wow.
Yeah. So my friends who grandparents were landlords, and she could never wear a red scarf.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's this kind of identity politics, right?
Yeah.
And class struggles. 5 red classes against supposed hate against 5 red classes, and I was red. So
red against the black.
Yes, and we're all Chinese. We all look the same. Nothing to do with your skin color. It's about what is the 5?
Color?
What is the 5? Five black though landowners, rightists, bad influencers, and also they call the counter-revolutionaries and stuff. Yeah,
so
and it's like so
all
who define
labeling.
those terms?
Labeling.
The government, the
government.
party, the CCP. So it's very subjective.
Truly.
So I see that identity politics is happening in America today. So Americans are divided into different groups too. Oppressors versus oppressed, and the people of color against white. And the Christian conservatives are labeled also all kinds of names. And if you're straight, you get a name too, right?
Yeah.
So
we call homophobic. If
Yeah.
we are straight.
and if you don't want to take a mandatory vaccine,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, anti-vaxxer.
And you're
unscientific.
and if you're a Trump voter, you're extremist. And insurrectionist, even worse.
Yeah.
Or white supremacist.
White supremacist.
White supremacist.
So I
Yeah.
could so
all kind of names.
I feel so sad to see our country people are divided like that. I don't like it because I recognize the tactic, identity politics, separating people and get citizens to fight, hate each other is a communist strategy and tactic. So we need to be aware, we need to be kind to our fellow citizens, and we need to kind of tell our stories like this to say, it's okay, we disagree with each other. You are a Democrat and I'm a Republican, it's okay. But we still can have conversations, and we need to respect each other's opinions because we all have so much in common. The common is that we live in the same country. We're American citizens. We love this country, and we want our kids get educated. We want some freedom and constitutional rights given to us by God. We want to have prosperity. We don't want to be poor and starving, right? We have so much in common.
Right, truly.
But the thing is, though, media did not help. Social media did not help. All the politicians love to play identity politics and to get people to fight each other doing the political game. Just
Truly.
I don't like that. I always speak to people, all the people. It's including people in the middle who are not, even party affiliated.
It makes us more and more difficult to speak, because sometimes I think I'm kind of like middle, maybe a little more conservative. I'm like, oh, okay, people will think I'm all right. I'm a little stifled and got discouraged from speaking up. A lot of times I miss my opportunities.
Well, did you get canceled yet? Like Facebook, Twitter, sometimes will fact check you, restrict you, in jail, or close your account.
I have my 12 years Facebook account terminated. Shut
So
off. Yes.
now you see why I'm saying this country is like becoming the country I left, because the Chinese and Communist Party, one-party dictatorship controls all the press, all the media, and the social media are tracking you, and so they know even where you live, where you work, and if you see something not PC, like on WeChat, sometimes I want to go watch a video, it's gone. I get a notification. This violates our regulations.
Yeah.
And here I get the same notice from Facebook. This violates our community standards.
Oh, fact check.
Right,
Oh,
right.
And but who decides those?
Totally.
Freedom of speech.
Yep.
It's our natural right. If you cannot speak freely, you cannot think freely. And then we will not have a conversations to fix our problems, because all the other opinions will be, canceled and silenced. So you only have one-sided voice. It's very dangerous for our constitutional republic, our country, And
And it is, I think, it is kind of difficult when you first come here. It's like, you're a law student, right?
yeah, I was already law school faculty when I left China.
Yeah, and you're pretty. I would say, the ranking, it's kind of like high ranking.
I got
in
great
China.
job in China.
Mm, very
Fudan
good.
University, top 5 Chinese universities. Yes.
Yeah, and then you have, at that moment, something that click, and then you decide, no, this country is not going to help me.
Well, of course,
There's
when I
something that
when I grew up during the multicultural revolution, I was indoctrinated, brainwashed. We literally hold a little chair in my mouth, read a book
Yeah,
every day in school to chant.
the chant.
Long live Chairman
Yeah,
Mao, long
yeah.
live Communist Party. So when I was 12, when Mao died, it just shocked me. How did he die? So he was like God. I was telling people yesterday, I was so brainwashed. Sometimes I would see Mao's face smiling at me in the fire, like when you burn fire
Oh,
to
yeah.
cook, to stir fry.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
feed the wood sticks until under the wok. I was like, oh, I saw Mao smiling at me. I was still thinking about the music and the red sounds, and in the sky he was looking down on me and saying me, oh, good child,
Good child, yeah.
and so when he died, I started to ask questions, but I was smart enough to say, I asked questions in my own head. Somebody lied to me. He's a human. He died. He's mortal, right?
Yeah.
He's not God. But I never asked that question before. I said, I need to find out what happened. I was very, very lost. I lost my soul, lost my religion. The religion was
Yeah, that was-
And so then later the Communist Party did come out to correct. Okay, Mao is a human being. He is not God. His Cultural Revolution is a total mistake. China economy was like on the verge of collapse. We were hungry. We did not have enough food. They gave you coupon, like a 食物券, food stamp to say how much rice, flour, fabrics, sugar, and wheat flour, means all that stuff is rationed. And because my parents were poor, they did not have enough food, rationing coupons for us to eat.
Yeah.
I was a hungry child, but at the same time I said, oh, thank
Mao.
you for food. Long live Chairman Mao. And say the Hong Kong people, the Taiwanese people were suffering. They were suffering, so we should be grateful. So I started to ask those questions, and then the school reopened, college reopened after Mao's death. I could go to university to study law. I wanted to study law because I was searching for truth. I thought if we just have a rule of law in China, maybe we'll have justice, and maybe no matter who dies, who comes in as a new leader, will have a legal system, so you're not going to have a big changes, you know, or madman or supreme leader like Mao who made us starving. And you know, I just thought that'd be best way to go, rule of law. But I woke up in law school that we will not have real rule of law because we had one party controlling everything. They control the court. There's no independent judiciary, and they control the law enforcement. Everybody worked for government that time. When I graduated, I worked for government too. You know, like a university law school, and I start to feel like, well, I don't think I can truly be free in China. I might be able to get richer, but I cannot be truly be free. So I would think about this. American student told me, you should come to United States. And the United States citizens will have a guaranteed constitutional rights. All men are created equal, have individual rights. So I said, oh, this is a great country. Maybe I should come here. But in order to leave, I have to get a permission to quit my job and to leave my position behind to get a permission to apply for passport.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Oh, you need permission to apply for passport. Oh, yeah.
And to quit your job.
And quit your job.
So they asked me, my party boss asked me, sign this agreement to say, I promise to go back to China once I get my master's degree, even though I came here by myself on my own time and money and efforts. And I said, okay, after my master's degree, and I will go back to serve the country in order to leave. And otherwise, two consequences. One is kick you outside the party. To be law school faculty, you have to be the party member. So your loyalty is there to the party law. Because law, I was told, is a tool for the party to use to govern the masses.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the law you learn?
That's what they told us in school, in
law
law school.
The China law
so
school
think about my
different.
waking up. It's a Soviet Union model. It's not for justice, equality. It's not. So I got lost again second time. So from 12 years old, I got lost. Then when I was in law school, at the age of 18, I was lost again. Then when I become a faculty member, I start to see the reality kicking at the age of 21. Third time, I realized I cannot stay here all my life. I won't be free. I won't be happy. I won't achieve my, goal, my dream to build a rule of law society. I better to get out. So I have to change my strategy, sign the agreement, make my boss happy and trust me to let me to go apply for passport. So another agreement, if I don't go back on time, they're going to send my 档案 personnel file to Chengdu. So I cannot even go back to Shanghai to work, to live.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, because you know how difficult it is to go to Shanghai, Beijing, the first tier city, and to have your household registration, 户口, to be changed from Chengdu to Shanghai, Beijing is very difficult.
Understood. They will restrain your account bound to where you're born, not to the
because
cities.
to give you benefits, right?
Right.
So I said, well, I guess I have to sign that. So that means I have to make it. I have to make it in this country, even though I don't know how to pay bills because I only got borrowed $100 when I come here. And I owe professor, like my sponsor, $1,200. I couldn't speak English. I really had no clue how I'm going to survive. But I just had this faith. I'm going to make it. I just want to get out. I just want to get out.
Wow.
So my nightmare in the first 10 years in this country, I was dreaming about China in Chinese. I was still dreaming about, I was stuck. I was not let go. I could not get out. I was trapped. And then wake up, you're so happy I'm in America.
In the first 10 years, but you are still trying to learn the America.
Yes,
Still
learn
trying to
English, because I did not become citizen and even to vote until I think I become citizen in 1995. I came here 88, and I have to get married, and get a graduate degree, find a job, and then we have 3 wonderful children. You gotta busy raise children.
American dream.
Yes, American dream. We bought a house. I got a layoff. I start my own business. Went through all that process, just like lots of immigrants in this country. So by the time I truly wake up, I realized, oh, my past life in China was all full of lies. I learned 3 years natural disasters. That's what I was told. Starved 40 million people to death. It was not caused by natural disasters. It was caused by Chairman Mao's central planning policies and the class struggle campaigns and his communism caused people starving to death. And so I started my awakening process by reading more English books, Free to Choose by Milton Friedman, all the economics books. So I learned how free market and free enterprise should work better than rely on government for solutions. Because the government is not solution. Government is lots of times is a problem.
Yeah,
They
government
create-
itself is a
They
problem.
create a problem.
Yeah.
Then they want you to pay more money, more taxes for them to fix the problem. That problem got bigger. Then they want more of your money. Then they tell you how you should live. Then you blame other people, other side. It's crazy. So I learned all that. So when I woke up, become an independent thinker, got involved in politics, it was 2008. 20 years later, I come to this country. So if you're not a wiki, if you don't know American political system, it's okay. Take your time. You will get there someday. yeah.
So after you got enlightenment, and then you realized the America, you are in America, and then you start speaking about you openly speaking about what happened to CCP.
Yeah, what happened in China, what
in
happened under
China.
Mao, what is basically my personal stories.
Okay.
Because when I wake up at night, also because gun control 2013, I become political grassroots, just an activist, liberty activist, trying to keep our liberties. People never lived without freedom. They take freedom here for granted.
Yeah.
So I feel I value my freedom more than anything else. I value my natural rights, so as human beings, right? So I start to teach and educate people about I don't want America to become like China. I've been doing that also for past 5 years to our students, college and middle school, high school students. Why do you want to free stuff from government? Why do you like socialist policies like Bernie Sanders and AOC? And then those, welfare, some welfare is okay, but the more and more large-scale socialist policies is gonna make us poor, and then you will suffer. And when you also become dependent government, they can also take them away, take all your benefits away one night. And I want to rely on ourselves. I want to rely on free market economy. I want us to become more like a free enterprise entrepreneurs and rely on our communities, our families, not better. And have prosperity. The free market capitalism is the best way to prosperity. But our kids demonize capitalism, and they start to worship like Mao, Karl Marx, all those communist leaders. I got so scared. Like, how come our kids don't know the truth? So I need to go educate them. So I have been consistent educate people. That's when I got discovered by CCP, and they start to kind of threaten me. And in 2019, you're a traitor.
Can you tell us more about how they attack your campaign, your message? They smear you, blackmail you. Can you tell us more?
Well, 2019, I was not even running for office. But because I've been speaking up against communism infiltration into America, our schools, and I don't know how they found my Facebook page. So they start to, because I guess people like and share lots of my stories, my messages. So they start to say, don't you want to come back to China or Asia? And some people even threaten my family. And I just say, well, it's better I don't go home. So I canceled my trip 2019 just to save my family. And then now I'm running. And so, of course, I have a Lily for Congress, a public Facebook page, and my Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And also, I got on Tucker Carlson, had 600,000 people to watch me on Fox News, Tucker Carlson, Tonight Show. And they start to basically accuse me to say, you are telling the lies. The Americans will not vote for you because you are commie. You are a spy. Never trust somebody who grew up in communist China. Even though I have been consistent, running and speaking against communism. And I can say the infiltration of CCP is very deep in this country. I'm very concerned, very concerned.
They are very rampant in Los Angeles area. Actually, many mayors in the Los Angeles cities are communists, working for the Chinese communists.
Yeah, and also they infiltrate in the school system, right?
Right.
Right now, they using the you told us the term
CRT, critical race theory.
but because they know that's a bad term, and then they start trying to using different terms.
They can use here's jargon words, right? You can do DEI, called diversity, equity, and inclusion, social emotional learning,
Social emotional learning. This
and
one is very tricky.
1619 project.
Yeah, this
America
one,
is
yeah.
systemic racist country, even though civil rights movement that we have come a long way now. And they also use the term and called what is another term? Equity, like a affirmative action. Equity,
equality.
equal. We need to have an equal outcome. We need to
Equal
have
outcome.
quotas. So now Supreme Court justice, even like we need to have quotas. Someone I'm gonna have maybe a Chinese justice there. I don't know, American. So it's like do you know under Mao they like to cancel individual excellence, and they like to cancel also individual merit. So everything is it's like you don't need to be excellent. And actually, intellectual scientists sometimes are canceled, silenced because, they tell the truth. And so I'm so worried. It's like if you teach our kids, brainwash them with this kind of Marxism education, they're going to be more and more socialist voters and vote for socialist policies. You know how many congresswomen in the Democrat Party today in the House floor of House of Representatives? Out of 435 our Congress people in the House of Representatives right now, the biggest caucus is Progressive Caucus.
Yeah, progressive
97
Democrat. Yeah.
members.
Wow.
So it's not just squad like AOC and squad, 4
Yeah.
people, 4 women, 97.
Wow, we have 97.
Yes, they're the biggest. It's like half the Democrat Party
Yep.
members in Congress
Yeah.
are belong to the Progressive Socialist Caucus. So how do we stop their Green New Deal agenda? Or how do we stop printing money, out of control spending called the BBB? And then you have to pay for it. And they're printing money because they're printing money. Inflation is high.
Yeah.
And they have a horrible energy policies. When Biden became president, the first day, he stopped the Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah.
Where Canadian oil can come to United States, so the pipeline is more environmentally secure, sound, and cheaper gas. But they don't want that. Instead, he is begging oil from Venezuela, Middle East, and we used to buy even from Russia. Now no more Russia oil because of the war. Now our gas price is $6 a gallon. It might go higher.
Over here, some city is $10 already.
So how do
So
our
it's
kids live in American dream?
Yeah.
If you cannot afford the gas, you cannot afford to buy a house, to rent, and the people are going to suffer, busy making ends meet every day, then that's not what I came here for. That's why we need to call those failure of socialist policies by the Democrat leadership. Democrats used to be a lot more moderate, but now today's Democrat Party is not your same one from like 30 years ago. We need a more moderate Democrat to realize that, and to basically to call the walk away campaign. Maybe walk away.
Yeah.
Oh,
Walk away.
The social media even closed down many walk away groups
I
and
know.
channels.
Yeah, I belong to this group on Facebook called the Walk Away Movement, and after the January 6th, the whole group got canceled. 500,000 people,
Yeah.
got canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very, very, very sad to see people cancel, and citizens like. So who decides? who has a right to speak, to exist on social media?
Yeah.
So private big work corporations, that's terrible, right? You
Yeah,
know?
and they are telling us what to do and what to not do, right? Yeah.
Well, you just. So I just feel like if I never could have a free speech in China. I have to whisper. Like our family members have to whisper. You're afraid somebody's gonna report on you. What you said is not PC. It's not politically correct. But now people are doing the same thing. They're worried about in this country because you can lose your job and career. And if you don't even get a vaccine, you can lose your job, get fired.
Yeah.
Or you cannot travel because you don't have vaccine passport. You cannot go to a restaurant. What kind of country do I live in? I don't recognize
They
it.
don't want to go back to
Really?
China, kind of like living back in China.
Well, I mean, my
yeah.
state is a red state. We have a Republican control New Hampshire State House, State Senate, and the governor's office and executive council. But our 4 Congress people, 2 U.S. senators, and 2 House of Representative congresswomen, they're all Democrats. So now that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to turn red. We're trying to, there are 2 races right now. One is U.S. Senator's race is open, so lots of Republicans running to unseat, and there are 2 congressional seats also are lots of. So we could, if we are lucky, if we work really hard, people are fed up with this inflation, high gas prices, maybe we could turn 3 seats red. So that way, then we can go to U.S. Congress, basically have a majority. That means if you have majority, the Congresswoman who can basically limit Biden's executive, like a presidential power, just so it'd be like a gridlock. He cannot do too much, Yeah.
So it's like just like on the screen right now. That is your top 6 priority.
Yeah, priorities. Yeah,
Yeah.
my top 6 issues. So number 1 concern in people's mind now, in my state, in lots of people's mind, is of course inflation. But they like to blame on corporations and Putin, the war, the supply chain. I mean, they all play some factors. But the most important, before the war, before Russia invaded Ukraine, the government printed so much money. So you can see the inflation chart is already go up. 90% of the inflation is caused by government printing money and out of control spending. And so when you flood the market with lots of printed money, paper money, of course your $1 becomes 80 cents.
Yep.
So it's like you just got hit by largest tax increase, guys, and like, oh, I can't afford to buy this, that. So your money is worth less, right?
Yeah.
And then the energy, like I said, gas price is so high, and so I think we need to think about budget. We need a balanced budget. We need to cut government spending and stop printing money for all those like a socialist agenda priorities. Then parental rights. I'm a firm believer of our children belong to parents.
Yeah.
And parents should have control in their education curriculum and school policies. So if you're not happy with your kids' education, exercise parental control. Get involved with your local school board elections and go to school board meetings, or homeschool and go if you can afford it. See, rich people can afford private school, but then tons of people go to public school and then they force down on your throat what kind of public school curriculum policies are.
Yeah.
And the freedom of speech, we already talked about that. And stop radical left policies, which is cultural Marxism we talk about.
Yeah.
Push transgender stuff into our children, critical race theory, all that stuff. Increase energy production and the secure borders. Don't you think a border is just right now is totally
Open.
chaotic? You don't know who is coming, and drugs,
Yeah.
national security. And do they come in, even go to New York City, vote as illegal immigrants?
Yeah. Who knows?
And who is paying for their welfare policies? Taxpayers.
Truly.
Yeah.
Especially California, you pay
Yeah,
lots of money, lots
yeah.
of taxes.
Yeah. We pay a lot.
So
yeah.
I support legal immigration, but
Of
my
course.
we're immigrants.
Yeah, we
we're
are immigrants.
immigrants. Yeah, we
Right,
support
right.
legal immigration. And you come here, you work, you contribute to American economy,
Yeah.
and you live in American dream.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's
So,
the
but
path.
now our American dream is under attack. My brother waited 13 years to legally come here with his wife and kids, and now they're working full time on 2 jobs to make ends meet. And then they illegals when they cross border, you know how many hours they stay there to do processing? 2 hours.
Wow.
Then
Can't believe that.
they are released to the society.
13 years versus 2 hours.
2 hours processing.
Oh no.
And you cannot. How can you vent people like that?
You're encouraging more people to come in illegally.
I know, isn't that crazy? So
It is
our
crazy.
immigration policy is to penalize people waiting legally in life for a long time and give incentive. Hey, more and more coming, please coming. It's open, coming. Then 2 hours, but it's not human because lots of people take a risk. They have to give money to the human
Yeah,
traffickers
they have to
and pay for it.
pay for
And
the
some are little
trafficker.
kids, and then they're separate from their families.
Yeah.
And how many people get hurt? Maybe girls get raped by the human traffickers. It's a madness. It's a chaos. It's inhuman.
Yes.
But Biden just, I think he was talking about even, get rid of Title 42, so they don't have to even do like a COVID screening
Oh,
in Mexico
COVID screening
anymore.
too, yeah.
Wow.
They just
So
let
people, remember, we're still wearing masks, traveling, flying the airplane.
and
Truly.
why
And
would
there are
they
people just
let
coming
people
from
come in?
there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
What's the point
ridiculous.
of us wearing masks when you are not vetting who has COVID
Health
or
risk,
not
right.
at the border?
So we got to secure borders. I hope that we need to support. They need to enforce the laws. Our board ICE agent, they are told their hands are tied because, because our federal policy is so crazy and chaotic, and people even demonize ICE. AOC people they're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Cancel all those. It's like, well, then who's going to, I think the property rule of government, our federal government, is protect life, liberty, private property, and the national defense, secure our borders. But then we spend lots of money, print lots of money to support other countries' borders. It doesn't make sense. Really doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, and well, people should stay tuned because this is only the part 1. Okay, we're going to have another part later. Probably we will do it.
After maybe primary.
Yeah. and then,
After primary.
later we will do it probably on Facebook. So people stay tuned, and we will continue on the second part. And thank you for watching.
And thank you for having me. Yeah,
And,
please follow me on my social media, Twitter, Instagram. Check out my website, lilytangwilliams.com. I'm the only immigrant in this country is running as a pro-freedom, pro-liberty, pro-American, anti-CCP platform. So I need everybody donate to my campaign. Otherwise, I cannot unseat this Democrat woman who have been there for 10 years and votes with Pelosi 98% of time. So
Okay.
yeah, thank you very much for your support.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Thank you very much. We wish
Thank
you
you.
all the best.
Yes, thank you,
We
thank
want
you.
to win.
Yes.
We have all our support from
One,
HSCI Media.
I hope so. I hope
Okay.
so. Yeah, we'll keep me in your prayers. Yes.